Welcome everyone. Hope you're well. Feels like forever since we've been
Yeah.
back on the screen. Welcome, Lee Judges. How you been, mate?
Yeah, good. It's been a while, hasn't it? Like, I've been so busy with all this World Cup stuff. You know what I mean, like thick and fast. But it's starting to ease up. Not to ease up now, but when you've got games on every day now. Now it goes into knockouts, which is better, by the way. But there's not 4 games a day. Like definitely a football feast, isn't it? With the World Cup.
What have
I'm
you
not.
made of it, mate? I can't lie. I've enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But 4 games of football, it's been good for a football lover. But there's been some shocks, mate, so to speak. And today, I mean, what a group!
It's unreal, isn't it? It's unreal. To be honest, I'm going to be really honest with you. I weren't feeling it before. I say feeling it. I just, like with the Arsenal playing really well, I was sort of like at a stage where this was going to get in the way. But once it's come, I had a chance to go to Qatar, didn't I? And I sort of went, no, I prefer to stay over here because I weren't really feeling it. And now I probably am feeling it, and it's such a good. I think it's been a good tournament so far. I've got to say, I think how can you say it? As long as it ain't you on the end of the shock, you don't mind a shock. It's like the FA Cup. We all love a shock as long as it ain't like the Arsenal. And it's been full of them. It's been full of them. And well, I've got to say today, VAR comes into play again. The handball for that penalty the other day was ridiculous. But you can't really blame VAR because they were sort of saying it was the rules. But I can blame VAR today. When people say that it's corrupt and people try and tell me that it's not, I'm not convinced. Then that is a corrupt decision today, and FIFA now are not showing it. It's I don't know what Germany are going to make of that when they see that. But there was at one stage if Spain and Germany were going out at one stage in that competition. Unbelievable night, unbelievable.
Do you know what's mad as well is I picked out 3 teams in the sweepstakes. There's only a few of us in there. So there's obviously like 32 teams or whatever. I picked out Morocco. I thought, they're going to go out. They end up winning their group. Unbelievable. They've gone through winning their group. Then I picked out Spain and then I picked out Germany. And I thought, I'll take them both. But they're both in the same group. So likelihood is one of them going to go out. At one stage, I looked at the competition. Japan and Costa Rica are going through. I'm sitting there thinking, you are kidding me. Gary Neville and Souness have been saying Spain look the best for me so far. Absolutely best in this tournament. They looked like they were going out at one stage. And I'll say this now, Lee. I'll say this now. There's nobody for me. There's nobody for me that I've gone, not beating them. They look too good. This could be a shock this year. It could be Morocco, Japan. Wouldn't surprise me if there's any tournament. It'd be this one, Lee.
I think I'm going to say it now. England are nailed on for this. Nailed on for it.
You reckon?
And I mean that because do you know why? One reason. We've got 4 or 5 players that can score goals. I watched that Spain today. They could be out there till tomorrow and wouldn't have scored. They haven't got no one. We've got it in abundance. I look at other like Germany today. Come good in the end, but toothless up front. I look at Brazil. Yes, definitely they've got it there. But anybody else, I'm struggling with. Like Holland, not for me. I look at Spain. France, definitely. They've got a chance with their wide players. But they've not been over impressing me. And they got beat the other day as well. I know mentally you're not on it because you're already through. I don't know. But I don't think there's a standout team in this competition whatsoever. There's no. When in previous World Cups, I remember '98. If we'd have beaten Argentina that day, we'd have played a top Dutch team. If we'd have beaten Holland, we would have gone on to play Brazil, and then you had France in the final. Difficult games. This one here, I don't think there's no. And as for Belgium, well. Did you see that today, Lukaku?
Shocking, mate. Shocking.
Unreal.
Look, but I'm not going to lie, Lee. I looked at Belgium. This is what I thought when the tournament started. I looked at Belgium. I went, nah, they're gone. they're definitely out. But they're a good side. They've got Vertonghen and Alderweireld still. They've still got Lukaku. They're playing Batshuayi up front. They've got Hazard, who looks overweight and done. Like, he's completely finished. They've got so many players that are looking their side now. And I think this is a Belgium sign from about 10 years ago. It's still trying to play. They're done. No way they were going to go through. I thought Spain had a chance because they play attractive football, but they nearly went out tonight. I didn't fancy Germany because they've got no number 9. I don't see the
Yeah,
fact that scoring 5 or 6 goals. I don't fancy Holland. I just don't think. I think they're doing their job. I think Cody Gakpo, by the way, has been one of the players of the tournament so
yeah,
far.
he's been impressive. Yeah,
But other than him, I don't look at Holland and go, wow. So I'm with you. Brazil, I still don't think they look dominant. I don't think, wow, they've got a brilliant squad, but I don't look at them and go, yeah, don't see many beating them. France, if I had to put me money at the moment, I'd go with them because I feel like they're the
yeah,
most balanced. They're the current champions, and they've got one of the best players in the tournament, Mbappe, who can score from anywhere. England, I'm with you. The only thing that puts me down about England is our manager. And I know that sounds horrible
yeah,
because he got us to a final, he got us to semis. But when you're playing Jordan Henderson um, in your first team, that to me says I want to try and not lose games, not go out and win them. So for me, I don't think we'll lose many games under this manager. I've said it for a long, long time. I don't think England will get trounced ever under Gareth Southgate. But I don't think we're going to go out and trounce teams. Now, having said that, I thought we played really well against Iran in the first game, and I was encouraged. I wasn't encouraged in the USA, and we both watched that together at the studio. I thought we were very negative. Although they set up well, USA didn't look at us and think, wow. And then the other night against Wales, I thought that was a really poor first half. I was nearly asleep. I thought it was absolutely dreadful. He don't excite you, does Gareth? But the second half, it just proves, like you say, Lee, Foden, Saka, Sterling, Rashford, Kane, Callum Wilson, Mason Mount. That's an unbelievable amount of players to be bringing on from this day. You've still got Grealish and Maddison in that as well. I'm with you. I think, we've got a good chance because of those players, Lee, attacking wise.
yeah. Listen, I said on Bet Victor the other day, like and I'll be honest, I said it. The game against Wales, that first half was awful. Rashford was awful in that first half.
Terrible.
It's unbelievable what confidence does, even to professional footballers, when he scored the goal, and then from then on he was magnificent. But I find it really unbelievable that professional footballers lack in confidence, and he certainly did until he scored. I thought Foden was giving the ball away all the time. I thought we was absolutely dreadful in the first half. Once we got the goal and we stepped it up, different class, and I have to say that Rashford was great. But everybody going on about that, Wales were very, very poor in this World Cup.
Awful.
Probably the biggest disappointment for me. I
Yeah,
expected a
I
little
think
bit more.
them and Denmark are the ones that
Oh,
disappointed me most.
Denmark! Yeah, Denmark. What's a shock that is? Them going out as well, like yeah. Probably Denmark followed by Wales. But this is what I say about teams and all that. Dan, Bale class player, Ramsey, they're not had enough football. No, not fit enough. And if you come into a tournament when you're not fit or you're out of form, it will come back and bite you. And that's my problem with England at the minute. Mason Mount, not in form. If he continues to play him, going to get found out. Sterling, lack of form. Unfortunately for them two guys, being at Chelsea, it's nothing to do with them being at Chelsea, by the way. They've just lost form at the wrong time, Dan. And if you're going to go with that, there's trouble. There's trouble. I think, very, very interesting what he does on the next game. We'll have to wait and see. So, but yes, some disappointments along the way. But, England have got a massive, massive chance. They ain't going to get a better chance of winning the World Cup, then. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Let's just touch on them quickly before we move to Arsenal. There's a couple of things I wanted to touch on. First of all, I hope Ben White's okay. Still don't understand what's gone on, but I'm guessing death in the family or something. I can only think it must be something like that. So we wish him well. I just wanted to touch on a couple of players, Lee. I want to touch on your mate Harry Kane, and the reason I'm bringing him up is my mum sits there and she's watched the football and she absolutely hates him. Right, every time he touches the ball, she can't watch the screen now. She hates it. And it reminds me of you because I know that you're a bit like that. And my mum always says, oh, look at him cheating. He's cheating again. He's cheating again. And to be fair, she ain't far wrong. He does go down so easily, doesn't he? It is unbelievable. Like, you've got a 6-foot mountain of a man and he's literally on the floor all the time, Harry Kane. So I wanted to talk to you about what you thought of his tournament, mate, because a lot of people are saying he's not been great. Some are saying that he's still got the assists and the goal lights. So what do you make of your mate?
Well, listen, I will say this, and this thing about him not scoring goals, everybody's criticising. We'd be very, very hypocritical if we're saying the same, because when you look at it, Jesus is not scoring goals for Arsenal, but he's contributing with other things, and we are all like quick enough to say, "Oh, how good Jesus is," and everything like that. Harry Kane is contributing. He contributed with a goal the other day. It's not all about scoring goals. I know you like it, your centre forward to be scoring, and I get that. France won the World Cup without Giroud scoring, but other players are as long as other players are scoring, then it's okay. And the other thing is with it, I'm looking at him and I think, like, quite, it's like they've borrowed a car, isn't it? Old Gareth Southgate's borrowed Conte's motor, his Ferrari, and he's giving it a right good hammering wherever he goes. And I absolutely love it. Hammer him away. Keep using it. You know what I mean? Like, wear him down. So when he puts it back into the old Tottenham garage, it needs a repair and needs a rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
mate.
I'm for it. Like, you know what I mean? Just keep him playing as much as he can. Do you know, this is the thing about this World Cup. Today, yes, I want Japan to go through for Tomiyasu. No, I don't, because I want him back home. Same with Xhaka. Same with Ghana, with Partey. And then I look at it today and I think, Denmark have gone out. I wanted Højbjerg to keep going deep in it now. And I'm sorry, I don't really want Harry Kane ever playing an
Germany
England.
and Belgium as well going out.
Yeah. I don't ever want Harry Kane playing, but this tournament, I'm thinking, when he was actually coming off, yes, I said, keep him on there, run him into the ground,
Our mate Andy Nunn is in there. He's saying Kane's a clown, hate him. He says, but England, the pants, we go out to Senegal on penalties, mate. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if we do go on penalties, Lee, to be fair. Who's going to take these penalties? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Just want to say, then I said, Andy Nunn, we all love and hate at the same time. He's being very, very supportive and watching, because at the end of it, he does nothing but slag me off. If I do something, he's very, very, if I didn't have a thick skin, I could go into depression with the way he slags me off and all that. He messages me if I do something there. He loves you, really. Get down to gym. He was saying, like, you know what I mean? Do you know what he said to me the other day? Because I was down at gym, like, trying to get back from this knee injury. He said, "You don't need a gym, you need a miracle, mate." That's what he actually said to me, like, you know what I mean? Not very nice. And then he turns around, and when I actually see him in person, "Oh, I love you, Judge," you know what I mean? But on that old keyboard, he's a horrible, horrible man. Like, there you go.
Well, listen, there's love. It's love in the chat. It says, "Love you, boys. Love you too, Nunners." Listen, I think personally, we have to mention the player for me that I've been most impressed with for England, and that's Jude Bellingham, Lee. I'm a huge fan of this kid, man. 19 years of age, and he's looking like he's played in this England side for the last 10 years. I spoke to Grizz on my channel not long ago, and he's heard that it's Liverpool. His dad's a massive Liverpool fan. Jude Bellingham's a huge Liverpool fan. It looks like he could be on the way there. Having spoken to Big Steve, he reckons it's a done deal when he's off to City. Wouldn't you like to see Arsenal just put a bid in, Lee?
Listen, I would do, and the way things are going, it's, who would have said it 2 years ago, that Arsenal would be a better attraction than Liverpool, but it could be at the end of this, if we can now Champions League football, and dare I say it, the Premier League, we'd be a big attraction to most teams. And Liverpool look at the moment like they do need some young players. They're desperate for young players in midfield. So we'll have to wait and see. I love us to be in there. Listen, he might support Liverpool. That don't mean to say anything. He's a London lad. He's not a northern lad as people seem to think. So we'll have to wait and see. So we'll just have to. I'd love to see him at Arsenal. And why wouldn't he want to not come to Arsenal at the moment? So I think at this moment in time, we've got a chance. I just think he's probably going to be like this World Cup. Also, Dan is probably going to put up his transfer fee to another $1 million, because I think he's superb. I've got to say.
Well, if Jack Grealish is under $1 million, he's going to be in it.
But yeah,
he's going to be 100 million, isn't he?
Yeah. But in saying that, Dan, it's 100 million with a big investment. He's 19 years of age. if you sign him on a long-term deal, if in 5 years' time you could get your money back, and you've had 5 years of him. So, it would be a really a good thing for us. We'll have to wait and see. We do need some players in that midfield, and I think Arsenal will be a good attraction if we continue going down the way we're going.
Couple of comments. Sakis has said Bellingham has such a great control of the ball. Him and Musiala are the best young players of the tournament so far. I must admit,
Well, he's
he
been a
looks absolutely super.
disappointment.
Well, he does look good though, doesn't he? I know he's not
Yeah,
had
he
a
does
great
look
tournament,
good,
but he does look
but
good. He does look good.
He goes round players, and then he's smashing it over the bar. He's done it about 5 times in this tournament, So not for me. Not for me.
I'd rather have Bellingham. Smokey's saying, would you rather have Bellingham or Musiala? I would rather have Bellingham. English, I think, for me, looks unbelievable at what he can do. I think Musiala is definitely a lot more attacking. I think Bellingham can do a little bit more box to box. I've been so impressed with everything about him, and I think that he would be a real good, upgrade on Granit Xhaka, albeit he has been superb this season. Mum makes a good point actually in the chat. She put this the other day actually. I think these players will wait to see where we finish before when it's time up with us. I think that could come into it, Lee. When you look at January transfer window, it's still a bit early in it to know what Arsenal are going to be doing this season. So it could be that it'll be difficult in the January transfer window.
I agree with your mum there, Donna, saying the big signings, like someone like a world class,
like Rice or Bellingham or something.
Yeah, somebody like that. But like players like Danilo, Tielemans, I think they'd like to get on board now. They're a little bit certainly with Danilo, I think it's one for the future. Get him in now. But I'm talking like the top scale players. Yeah, I think that they look at the moment, and options may be running out because you look at it and think like Liverpool, Chelsea, they could be struggling. Manchester United is another one if they don't get a Champions League. But as I've always said, we've got players here at this moment in time. Jesus being a prime example. We got him without Champions League football. That means a lot to me. That means that it ain't all about Champions League. They've come for the club.
Well, this squad that we all like now has all come to Arsenal while we're outside of Champions League.
Exactly. So I think there's a big thing in that. When you hear someone turn around and say, "Oh, I want Champions League football," well, I'm sorry, don't come to England then, because you're not guaranteed Champions League football in England because it's such a strong league.
We've got the pull still, haven't we? The history of the club still got the pull.
Yeah, I've always said that, Dan. You know what I mean? And people can have a go at me about it and saying that. I do think Arsenal Football Club has got a big pull. Not only that, where it's based in London is a big say as well. And I'll tell you what, I was up. I had to go to the Emirates yesterday. Like, you actually walk. It's as you walking up to that ground, you don't really appreciate it because it's when there's people buzzing around. But if you go there when it's empty, no one about, you realise how big that place is. We're a massive.
And also, like
club,
me and you are privileged enough to go to a lot of away grounds. Nowhere near as good as it. Do you know what I mean? Like the away grounds, some of them are shocking, aren't they? And you think, wow. Like even like Tottenham and West Ham, you think going up them grounds, you think, like even Spurs. I thought unbelievable stadium. Don't be wrong, but just the feel weren't quite right. The feel about it as well. It's just saying about the Emirates. Maybe we're a bit biased, but I think we need to appreciate at the same time how great it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do take it for granted.
I think with Spurs also, it's still new for them, isn't it? Like, and we had that with the Emirates for a few years as well. Like, it was a little bit hollow, and that will grow in the time. But I've heard a lot of Spurs fans moaning, saying, "Oh, we've got too many corporate now." Welcome to the real world. That's how it was. It wasn't like that.
100%.
White Hart Lane, it's a magnificent atmosphere at White Hart Lane. I have to say that, like one of the best. But and people go, "Oh, it's magnificent," all that. It was nowhere near as good as White Hart Lane, nowhere near. But there you go. So,
well, give it time. I suppose that's what they'll say, won't it? I want to bring this one up before we come into Arsenal because I think it will lead on to it. Would you take Declan Rice next summer? Did you see his interview today? Big up Nathan. The reason he's bringing this up is obviously Declan Rice done an interview with England, and he said he's surrounded by talent who are all winning domestic stuff, and he wants that, and he wants to look back at his career. You only get one career, was his actual words. That to me is basically toying with the idea of leaving West Ham at some point. It won't be January, but it could be in the summer or maybe next summer. I think he's definitely leaving. Where he's going to go, I don't know. I think it'll be Chelsea. I think he's got his heart set on Mason Mount and him playing together again for Chelsea. And I really like this player, Lee. I think he's top. I really do. You know, I'm a big fan of Bellingham. But this lad is different gravy as far as I'm concerned. And again, can do a little bit of everything. What do you see this guy leaving?
Yes, I think that I was actually doing a show with Nicky, who does West Ham TV. He said that it'd be definitely it won't be January, but next summer it'd definitely go. Listen, Arsenal. If you're going to be really honest, you ain't going to be able to get Rice, Bellingham. The chances are we won't get any of them. But like, we ain't going to get Rice and Bellingham. If I had a choice and we could get one of them, I will go for Bellingham. But Rice is a quality player. I think that Rice does a job that's a little bit underappreciated by football fans. He does all the dirty work, but he does it so well. And when you take that sort of player out, if he was to get injured, I think England, you'd go, wow, and I've missed Rice today. But when he's playing, you don't necessarily say, oh, how great he is, So I know people in the chat saying he's overrated and all that. Like, I get what they're saying, but he does a fantastic job for what he does.
Is he a bit of a Rodri or a Gilberto Silva then? We don't quite see what he does, and if he goes out, like maybe for a few weeks, you'd, like you say, go, bloody hell, you can really tell Rice ain't here. Because you always remember when we had Vieira and Gilberto. When Gilberto was out, you think, that's all right, you got Vieira, but it weren't the same. Like Gilberto, you properly missed him, and a little bit like a Sergio Busquets. He sits there and he does all the nasty work that no one else wants to do. And I think he's a bit like that. I'm a big fan of Rice, I must admit. I am a big fan.
Listen, in an ideal world, someone said, why not Rice and Bellingham? Yeah, in an ideal world, and if the Cronkies were to put their money really in there, it would be a non-brainer. But I will say this, I don't think that both of at the minute, I wouldn't swap over Partey at this moment in time. I've been watching him in this World Cup. He's just different class. So the only thing that we're looking at Partey for is because he's getting on at 30 now, and he's not quite fit enough. But listen, if you said to me, I know it's a big thing, and said to me, right, well, we can get Declan Rice and Bellingham, but we've got to sell Xhaka and Partey, I'd probably do it because of their age. They're in their 30s now. So right at this minute, though, they're doing very, very well. So I think that I'm a big fan of Rice as well. So the thing is. And I don't know if you think this, Dan, with Rice, if his name was Ricinho and it was Bellingino, do you think there would be like, I think they'd get a little bit more for it. It's like Danilo. It sounds so much better than Daniel, like.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong with Daniel, all right? Hang on.
No, it's a second name.
I know
what I mean? Do you know what I mean, though?
I do, yeah. If we went and signed Smith instead of Danilo, you might think, oh, don't sound. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what I mean. Even like Smith Rowe sounds better, like a double barrel, doesn't it? Instead of Smith, Do you know what?
There you
know
go,
where
mate.
I'm coming from.
No, you're right. I get where you're coming from. I do get where you're coming from, mate.
Jorginho would be better than Judges. There you go. I'll say that.
Oh, there you go, mate. Yeah, use your names, all right? Leave Dan out.
It's got a ring to
it. Yeah, no, it does. It does have a ring to it, mate. It does. And before I move on to the players that I think we're going to probably end up with from what I'm looking at, Rice and Bellingham, just lastly. People say, why can't they come at Arsenal? And it probably is money over club. And the reason I say that is I think they'll probably look at Chelsea, United, Liverpool, City. Of course they will. They can go to any of those clubs. But why not Arsenal? The way that we're looking at the moment, they're looking at the project. They're both 22 and 19 years old. If Kroenke said, what are they? 250 million for the pair. Go on in. Do it. Like, would they come, Lee? Do you think they'd be interested in coming to the Arsenal?
Oh, yeah, of course. Why not? I think that Arsenal is very, very exciting at the moment. They're the best team in the league at the moment, Dan. And we're not fulfilling our potential at this moment in time. I watched De Bruyne. Is De Bruyne on the way out yet? I don't think so, but he's not the same player as when he's not got Haaland with him and things like that. So, and I think De Bruyne. Someone said to me, De Bruyne is 30 now. I didn't realise that. Like, I thought he was a little bit young. Yeah, he was. he was a little bit. I thought he was a little bit younger, so they've got to look to replace him in a couple of years' time. They've got to be looking. So there's certainly lots of things that happen and all that, you know. So listen, I'm not. I think that we could get them. Don't read too much into it. Oh, they supported Liverpool when he was this and he was that. You know, the thing is maybe that Liverpool have had their little time, their little 5 year cycle now, and it's somebody else's turn now. I don't know. So I think that we're being. I think that we're being negotiations or finding out if one of them or even both of them are interested in coming to Arsenal. And at the end of it, you know, listen, we spent £75 million on Pepe, Dan. We will spend, you know, if so, I don't think we should be going, oh, you know, if Bellingham is 80, 85, I don't think that will frighten Arsenal off. That's my personal opinion.
Fair play. No, fair play to you, mate. Listen, we are linked with players, and I feel like this is a season where we need to spend in January, Lee. We didn't do it last
100%.
season. There's all that stuff going on at Juventus now. People are saying we're back in for Vlahovic and Locatelli and all that, and they're not the names that we're going to be discussing. The names we're going to be discussing will come into. But before we do that, I want to ask about your thoughts on January and Stan Kroenke and what you think is going to happen, because we're in a position where we can actually put up with a title race for the first time in what feels like forever, Lee. And if we don't do anything in January, it'll be very disappointing. I think this January shows what Stan and Joshua Kroenke are all about now that they've taken full ownership of Arsenal. Because if we sit back and say we're happy with fourth, you're going to get fourth, boys. You don't need any money. Take care and have a good season. We know exactly what we thought of them, and that is that they lack ambition. But if they say, do you know what? We're in a title race here, Arteta, what do you need? There's 150 million. Go win a title. I think people will start respecting them more, don't you?
100%. I think this is a massive January. I think it's a statement window. I honestly think that. Listen, if we were to sign, people are saying we at least need 3. We definitely need 2. If we were to get 2 or 3, that doesn't mean to say that we're going to win the title, Dan. This get that straight up, lot. But what it will do, I think, will guarantee us a top 4 position with the points we've got already. Like, you know, so that's how big it is. I think if Arsenal were to sign no one, I wouldn't put no money on Arsenal not finishing in the. So I would not say I'd put a lot of money on Arsenal finishing in the top 4. I think that they could actually fall out of it. That's how bad it is, because we're 1 or 2 injuries away from being really poor again, like, you know. So listen, we've got important players in the team. We're playing really, really well, but who knows what's going to happen in this? You know, listen, we're all in this World Cup, and I'm thinking, I'm glad that Jesus is not playing. I'm glad that Partey. I'm hoping that he comes home. I'm hoping that Xhaka comes home. Why am I hoping these players will come home? Because I'm frightened. You know what I mean? But if we've got a big massive squad and we've got this player and that player, I think, well, okay, it doesn't really matter if Saka's not going to be there for 3 or 4 games. Doesn't matter if we ain't got that luxury in a minute, unless we do something in January.
Massive, mate, massive. Let's talk about the players we're linked with. We've been linked with them for a while, it seems now, particularly with 2 of them. Last summer, we were linked with Tielemans and Danilo, and I think it looked as if Palmeiras were going to say, yeah, you can have him, but he ain't going anywhere in the summer because obviously we need him. But he has been told that he can leave Palmeiras. Now, there's 75% fee will go to Palmeiras, 25% will go to his boyhood club in Brazil. This one looks like it could happen, Lee. 21-year-old defensive midfielder, Brazilian, someone that Edu has been scouting for a while and likes. A Thomas Partey replacement or cover, so to speak. Probably from what we can see, not just a position we need, but isn't going to be too hard to upgrade on Lokonga and El Neni. Although I like El Neni, he's not really the answer. And Lokonga is not the player that we thought he was going to be. And for me, looks like he could be a bit of a flop. So what do you make of this Danilo one, first of all, Lee?
Yeah, I think I think this is the one that's going to be happening. I think we tried to push it through in the summer, but they weren't going to have none of it. They wanted it in January. So I think now it'll happen in January. I do think that one will happen. He's not bought. He's not actually. What he's going to be is bought for the future, but look to back up players now. He's not going to, I don't think, go into the first team straight away. But what he'll be looking to do is like playing FA Cup games coming on, and if there's anything going on and then like within the next year or so, he'd be looking to play first team football on a regular basis. A little bit like what they've done with Lukonga, but it's just not quite worked with him, So I do think that one's going to happen. I think Edu's got good contacts out there, and also the player I feel would want to come to if you're going to come over to a foreign place. What better way to do it when you've got youngsters who are there as well as Jesus and Martinelli to just say, right, well, you're in. Even when you're playing any sort of stand, if you've got a couple of your mates playing at that club, it's a good thing, isn't it? So I think that one will definitely happen.
Yeah, I think Edu, Martinelli, Gabriel, and Jesus are all there, and I think he can come and slot in. All I'll say about this, Lee, is people will say, "Oh, can we do better than Danilo?" It's very hard to do because is there another Thomas Partey out there that's going to come to Arsenal? There ain't. You've got to buy someone that is going to be there for when Partey gets injured.
Nurture. Yeah,
Nurture
exactly.
into it. So
Yeah.
I think this one will happen like you, and I think it will be a good signing. 25 to 30 million pounds they're rumouring. That would be a really good signing. The next one I want to come on to is Tielemans because it's been one that we're talking about for a while now. His contract comes to an end in the summer. They're talking about a cut price deal in January potentially, and I'm hearing that he wants Arsenal. Now, do you think Leicester is going to be the stumbling block here? Because I do. I think, yeah, we want him. I think Arsenal have made it quite clear that they want Tielemans. Tielemans made it quite clear that he wants Arsenal. But why would Leicester get rid of him in January when they can just say, do you know what? I don't need the 20 million. Yeah, we'll keep him. We bet with him. We're going to keep him till the summer, and then he can decide where he wants to go. I don't see this one happening in January, Lee. What about you?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The other thing is money talks. If you're going to get nothing for him in a few months' time, he's not really pulling up trees at the moment. At Leicester, I've watched him, in the games for Belgium. He's not even in the Belgium starting lineup at this moment. So he just needs a change. He needs to just he needs something that's going to go for the excitement of a new move and whatever. And I think that. Listen, if he comes to Arsenal now, he's going to come in as a squad player, like he is for Belgium or whatever. But he knows that in a year's time or whatever, he's going to be playing a lot more games and that. And I think that probably he'll take over from the Xhaka role or whatever down that right hand side. I think that I've not been that impressed with him in the last few months, but I think that's because his heart's not set on it, Dan. That's how I see it. I do think that if you lose heart for a team, then you might as well get rid. So they've got a decision to make. They either take the money or they let him go for nothing. I think if they can get a replacement in, they'll do it, but it won't be towards the end. I can't see him going in right early January and seeing where it is. I think that 4 or 5 weeks into January, if Leicester are safe and everything like that, then I think they'll say, look, we can't afford to just say like chuck away 20 million, so we might as well do it. So I think it's very interesting where Leicester go in the next few games when we come back. But I think it could happen, but I think it's going to be a long saga. And then if we don't get him, then okay, we take him for free in the summer.
I agree with you. I don't think this one will happen in January. I do see Danilo coming. One player that we have been linked with excitingly over the last few weeks, and I'm being told that it's pretty much a done deal. And Mudryk will be an Arsenal player in January. I think Shakhtar Donetsk are dropping the £75 million madness. They're going to accept between 40 and 50 million. I think he's agreeing personal terms with Arsenal. He's definitely a player that's been speaking to Zinchenko from what sources are saying.
Yeah.
21-year-old Ukrainian. He looks he looks mustard, mate. I can't lie. I've seen him in the Champions League and I thought, wow, you look a really, really good talent. And at 21, he can be someone who fits the mould, coming in around the Saka and Martinellis and Smith Rowes and give some competition there. And I think that, we will see a very, very good player here and one that could be exciting to get into this side, Lee. What do you make of him?
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I think it could happen. And people, again, a little bit pessimistic in the chat. Fact is, where is Shakhtar Donetsk? It's in the Ukraine. We know what's going on there. Financially, they must be suffering. So, I think it's something that we can do. If we could get him for 40 million, then it's great. It's great. you're paying a lot for potential. What I've seen of him, I do like what I see, but he's got to settle in and everything like that. But I just think it'd be again come in, be very much on the periphery this season, but pushing on at that right age. Dan, that's what I like about what I'm seeing at the moment. We're seeing 20, 21, 22-year-olds. They're going to. What I can see what the plan is, like keep this group together for 3 or 4 years. By the time they're 25, 26, they're going to be like proper. So we could even go on and win things while they're young as well. So I do see this one happening as well. Again, maybe not in January. Yeah, I think that we've got to make a couple of signings in January, and if they feel this is one, then I think that now listen, if we got them three players, I'll be very, very happy, Dan. Very, very happy.
Well, I mean, what a window that would be! Absolutely unbelievable. It would be unbelievable window.
All up.
Yeah, it gives us the defensive midfielder, the centre midfielder, and a wide forward that we need. And I think when you look at it, it's really 3 positions that need strengthening. I must say, and I will say, I still think a centre forward is needed. I think if Jesus was to get out long term, will Eddie Nketiah do it? I think Martinelli can still play through the centre, and we'll have Mudryk and Smith Rowe there still. Maybe that's Arteta's plan. He's looking at Martinelli going more centrally as opposed to relying on just Eddie. But I do feel that a Cody Gakpo, as a player who's been absolutely flying in the World Cup and in the Europa League, I think would be a very, very good option. But I do believe, I will say it now, that will be a summer move. I'm hearing Ten Hag's interested and Manchester United need a forward, so maybe he'd want to go and be the number 9 at Man United and play first-team football as opposed to second string to Jesus at Arsenal. But he's a player that's really impressed me, Lee, at this tournament, and I'll take him with you.
Yeah, yes, I like what I've seen. I did, I didn't really think much of him when I see him at the Emirates, but that was a game where PSV didn't really show too much ambition. But yeah, I like what I see of him. He can play in a couple of different positions as well. So I think he's going to be up there. I just think that he's going to be a lot dearer than Mudryk, and that's why I think that they'll probably go for that one in the end.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a busy January, not just for Arsenal, because I think there's a lot of teams that will spend. I think Liverpool know that they need to spend in their midfield. I think Spurs, likewise, Conte's not going to be happy. He wants players. Chelsea are still in this transitional period with a new ownership and a new manager, and that Todd Bowley sounds nuts, and I think they're going to go mad and spend money. Obviously, we're going to be fighting with the likes of Newcastle, I think, anyway, this season, because Newcastle playing very good football and they're going to spend, Lee. So we have to get on top of this. And I think it's good news that Arsenal are still talking about signings during this World Cup. And they're saying, look, Danilo's looking good. It's looking like Mudryk could be happening. Tielemans is one that we're definitely going after in this window, not the summer. And there's obviously been links to other players as well. And I think if you look at our team right now, you know where the weaknesses are, but you know where we need to strengthen in January and in the summer. So, for example, I think another left centre-back is probably needed, but that can be all right in the summer. Maybe they want to look at replacing Cedric. That can wait till the summer. El Neni, that can wait till the summer. Maybe a centre-forward. If you really wanted to get one in January, it would be nice, but I can't see it. But I think we will get one in the summer. So I can see where they're going with the next two windows. And I think after that summer window, we'll have the 20 to 22 players that we need to go and compete for a title. So I can see this plan. I think all of us could see this plan. It was whether they were going to execute it or not. And I'm a little bit more confident and encouraged now that they have got what it needs to actually get these players in the door, Lee.
Yeah, exactly, and exactly that, and there seems to be a much better plan for it. And of course, when you're winning games of football, Dan, that's took the pressure off a little bit to get these players now. All of a sudden now we're not outside the top 4 trying to get into the top 4. We're in the top 4 at the moment, and we're trying to build to something else. But I do think there is a thing now where me, you, and all that are thinking, well, we feel we've got a chance of winning the title. We feel like we've got a chance of being in the title if we get these players. It's not that, let's just build for top four, because we played so well. So I do think that you're right as well. I think that there's a plan that there's certain players are going to go for in January, and then a couple of big ones in the summer. You don't need to be going 4, 5, 6 players. Another couple of players, maybe just tinkering the squad, as you say, with the Cedrics going and a few like that. But basically keeping the core as it is and just that 1 or 2. So I'm with you on that. I think there definitely seems to be a plan. And the good thing about it, Dan, the other thing is that Mikel Arteta has come out and said we need players. He's actually come out and said it. So
That is great.
That tells me that things are back. And whether you think everything with the Arsenal, I am sort of trusting what they say at the moment. They say it and they get it done. There is a little bit more trust with the Arsenal team. And also the owners as well, like they have put their money where their mouth is, and they have got players. So, and I think that that they will get it done. They will.
Fair play. Smokey's made a good point. Says Chelsea have just spent 60 million on their new forward, and Nkunku is a very good player. Christopher Nkunku, a player Unai Emery wanted at Arsenal a few years ago at Leipzig. Very good player. We need backup, he says. So yeah, listen, everyone's going to be spending. We've kind of touched on that, and I do believe that Newcastle will probably be the ones that spend the most because they're all. I'm being told they're going for a lot. They're going for the Zahas, the Madisons. They're going for players like that. So
yeah, I think they will go. I think that whether they get them in the January one, but listen, if they get top four, which I think they will with the way it's going, then that they will be going big in the summer. So this is a chance to just make sure that we keep up with the Joneses, Ben.
100%, mate. Listen, Lee, always a pleasure, mate. Nice to chat.
Enjoyed that lovely little chat. Good to have a chat. We do it again. We're looking to do some. Maybe we're looking to do a couple of watch-alongs over the knockout stages and that, and we'll talk Arsenal while we're doing it. And we're obviously like get back. Love a couple of quickly things. Obviously the Tottenham game now has changed to a Sunday, and also the Man United game's changed to a Sunday, isn't it? Like, I didn't even know that, Dan, because of this bloody World Cup. Somebody told me the other day.
I've just found out. You telling me now? I didn't know either of those things. So there we go. A Sunday game. All I did know is that I'm in the Maldives when Arsenal play Man City, so I'm going to miss that one, unfortunately.
Bloody hell! Because they put that game on in
February.
February the 15th, like, you know what I mean? So what's that nice little Valentine's? You going out for Valentine's?
Yeah. Well, I don't really do Valentine's with my parents, mate, but they'll be there. I'll be sitting there, but I'm looking forward to it.
Make sure you make yourself scarce on the 14th, then, like, you know what I mean, when you're there.
Yeah, I won't be. I'll be snorkeling in the sea, mate. I'll be Valentine's in with the sharks and the fish, mate. You know what I mean? But no, it'd be lovely, mate. It's worse.
I'm sure you'll get it on TV out there anyway, like
there's worse places to be than. I'm
not going to feel sorry for you. I'm not going to feel
sorry,
mate. Cold, wet Wednesday night. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Absolutely, man. Listen, make sure you like and subscribe on this if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit us up. We're well into the 30,000 subs now, so keep that going, people. Thanks so much for watching live. There's been nearly 500 of you watching live, which is always good to see. And if you can support me in the banner below, then I'm on my Football's 12th Man podcast now. I'm at about 6,500 subs. So if you can get us up to 7,000 people, that would be amazing. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Always a pleasure. And we will see you next time, guys. Take care and up the Arsenal.